is the fake news hearing that? Whoa! Look how much. Wow, that's a lot of fake news.
I don't even know what to say about this racist remark that Tucker Carlson just made about Kamala Harris at Donald Trump's Madison Square Garden rally in New York City today. This is pure, unadulterated racism in its rawest form, and every single speaker at the rally so far, including Trump himself, has either employed straight up racism or dog whistles or said that Hillary Clinton is an evil B-word. It's been absolutely insane. So I want to break this down. I want to break down some clips of Trump's speech from the Madison Square Garden rally, and I also want to break down some clips of my debate with George Santos that I had outside of the arena right before the rally started just a few hours back. I'm still in New York City right now in my hotel room. That's why it looks like I'm about to tell you a scary story. I have terrible lighting, but we have 9 days to go and no time to waste. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe. Let's lay the groundwork with this clip of Speaker of the House Mike Johnson explaining how Republicans actually revere the rule of law and our founding principles.
We revere the founding principles. We revere our Judeo-Christian foundations. We revere individual freedom and limited government and the rule of law and peace through strength and fiscal responsibility, free markets, human dignity, secure borders. But the other team doesn't anymore, my friends. This is not your father's Democratic Party. They are now full on to Marxism and socialism.
That's a buzzword to Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. I bet Speaker of the House Mike Johnson knows that his fellow colleagues aren't actually Marxists. He knows that they are capitalists, but the people in the crowd don't know that, so he's tricking them. He's tricking the people that I just talked to. And also, the idea that Donald Trump and the Republican Party revere the rule of law. Donald Trump has been convicted 34 times in the state where Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is speaking. Donald Trump has been held civilly liable for sexual assault. Donald Trump has broken our rule of law and our unspoken norms every step of the way. So also the idea that they revere our founding principles, like the Constitution that Donald Trump wants to terminate and rewrite. He also says they revere secure borders. What about the bill that Langford wrote that Donald Trump shot down? He says they revere limited government, except when it comes to trans people. They want the government to be able to step in the operation rooms. He says they revere peace through strength, except when it comes to Donald Trump sucking up to Vladimir Putin. I mean, I can go through and debunk all of these vacuous talking points, but it's not even worth our time. You guys know that he's BSing. Let's get to this insane clip of Tucker Carlson. So, he says that Kamala Harris is both a Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former California prosecutor, and the joke he's making there is he's saying that she's not black or Indian, she's faking both of those or whatever, and he can't comprehend that VP Harris is both black and Indian, so he is making up two races and saying that that is actually what VP Harris is. I mean, it's unadulterated racism in the rawest form, but it's not just racism, it is ignorance. This is just ignorance.
At that moment, it's going to be pretty tough for them 10 days from now to look in the eye to America with a straight face. It's going to be pretty hard to look at us and say, you know what, Kamala Harris, she got 85 million votes because she's just so impressive. As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former California prosecutor ever to be elected president, it was just a groundswell of popular support. And anyone who thinks otherwise is just a freak or a criminal.
Is this guy tweaking out on stage? His body language is bizarre. Look at his body language.
California prosecutor ever to be elected president, it was just a groundswell of popular support. And anyone who thinks otherwise is just a freak or a criminal. At this stage of the game, after 9 years of listening to their lies and finding every single one of them totally false, no, it's not safe and effective, and no, she's not impressive. It's very hard for me to believe the rest of us are going to say, you know what, Joe Scarborough, you're right. You're right. She won fair and square because she's just so impressive.
This guy is tweaking out on stage, being downright racism, and also, he's not a dumb guy. He knows what he's doing here, but the people that he's speaking to don't know what he's doing here. I mean, then I go talk to them at rallies, and it leads to them repeating this stuff to me, but in a way dumber way, and it just gets offensive. Watch this clip when Hulk Hogan came on stage.
Well, let me tell you something, Trump-a-maniac.
Again, I said this in my last video after Byron Donalds walked out to the John Cena theme song about 30 minutes before this, but this is just a WWE event for them. Almost everybody I talked to couldn't name a single Trump policy. They didn't know what a tariff was, etc., etc.
Welcome to the house that Hulkamania built.
You know, thinking about it, if I got hit in the head by a blunt object repeatedly, I guess I could see how this stuff is entertaining to somebody. And it looks like the crowd really filled out of the room. Oh, that's not the right picture. No, but for real, I'll show you Trump's speech in a second, but I do want to show you a snippet of my debate with former Congressman George Santos, disgraced former congressman. How do you feel when Donald Trump calls Democrats the enemy from within or uses apocalyptic rhetoric like that?
Well, I mean, how should I feel when Democrats call Donald Trump Hitler and all of his followers?
Like J.D. Vance said?
Well, J.D. Vance said it, corrected the record, and stood corrected. It takes guts to admit that, right? Trump says Democrats are the enemy within. Fine. I don't think he should say that. But do you think the Democrats should say that Donald Trump is Hitler and his supporters are Nazis? And that this is a revival of the 1939 Nazi rally?
It's unfair to say that MAGA are Nazis, but I do think when people like John Kelly, a four-star general, comes out, when people like Mark Milley all corroborate the record that Donald Trump wanted German generals, and when he was pushed on that, Bismarck generals, not Bismarck generals, Hitler generals, he said, yeah, I think there's an argument there to be made. The entire conversation is actually quite fascinating. It's a really good talk that will be coming out probably in the next day or two, so make sure you stay tuned, make sure you have subscription notifications on below. Let's see what the amazing political mind of Dr. Phil had to say.
By the way, we didn't choose the name for that by random. Merit Street Media. This country was built on hard work, added value, and talent, not on equal outcome, not on DEI. This country was built on hard work.
When people like Dr. Phil say the word DEI, they're just using that interchangeably with black people in America or anybody with brown skin. And it's funny because Dr. Phil's career was made by a black woman, Oprah, and at the same time, if he wants to say this country wasn't built off the back of DEI, if DEI means black to him, slaves literally built our country. He literally is wrong. And then immediately after that, none other than J.D. Vance took the stage and the crowd began chanting Tampon Tim. Real mature. I don't know why tampons trigger them so much.
We ought to spare a prayer for Governor Tim Walz, because he's got the hardest job in American politics. He's got to convince the American... What's up, man? You all can say that. I probably shouldn't say that.
It's insane to me how these people gaslight us. They'll say that Democrats are divisive, and then they hold a single event where every single speaker makes a different version of a racist joke. Every single speaker ends up offending a different crowd to the 9th degree. I mean, the first speaker made fun of Puerto Rico and said that it was garbage. The second speaker began to make fun of black people. Every single speaker since then, including J.D. Vance, immediately the crowd starts chanting Tampon Tim, and he goes, you know, you guys can probably chant that. How about you lead? How about you act like a leader for once and say, hey, why don't we tone down the rhetoric? It's because J.D. Vance is grifting and he's fallen into audience capture. He only says things that he knows his audience will cheer for, even if he doesn't believe them. Like, do you think J.D. Vance 6 years ago thought he would be speaking at rallies and attacking the media? I'm sure J.D. Vance liked the media 6 years ago or 8 years ago whenever he hated Donald Trump. But now, again, he is audience captured. So when he goes to these rallies, he thinks, what can get maximum boos from the crowd? And it ends up being him calling out the media. Here is J.D. Vance saying they tried to kill him, and the way that he words this is he uses they interchangeable with Democrats. He says they tried to take him to court, they tried to arrest him, and they tried to kill him. And when he says they, he is talking about Democrats.
Tried to bankrupt him. When that didn't work, they tried to impeach him. When that didn't work, they tried to put him in federal prison, and when that didn't work, they even tried to kill him. But as sure as the American flag still waves, Donald Trump still stands, ready to fight, ready to win, and ready to make America great again.
Again, he says they tried to impeach him. Yeah, Democrats did try to impeach him. Then he says they tried to kill him. No, Democrats did not try to kill him. It's a perfect example of that slippery political doublespeak that MAGA Republicans are so good at. If you can keep saying, if you can keep alluding to a vague they, then you can keep your audience on the edge of their seats, always thinking the Democrats are about to get what's coming. Immediately after J.D. Vance came Donald Trump Jr. claiming, quote, the King of New York is back to claim the city that he built.
The King of New York is back to reclaim the city that he built.
Were all of the speakers backstage for 20 minutes with $100 bills before this? Because between him and Tucker Carlson's body language, I can't tell who's more jittery. Let's finish this clip.
My father changed the skyline of this city. He fixed the things that incompetent bureaucrats couldn't handle. He did that against all odds.
He does seem a little bit faded in some way. Just listen to the way he's like, his body language feels like he's drunk.
Bureaucrats couldn't handle. He did that against all odds.
Do you know how many people in New York City Donald Trump has ripped off? Do you know how many people's families he's ripped off? Do you know how many people Donald Trump's father has ripped off? I mean, and Lord have mercy, Elon Musk taking the stage may have been one of the cringiest things I've ever seen. He immediately declares himself as Dark MAGA, and then he goes, "This is awesome," in the most awkward way possible. He just loves having an audience.
I'm not just MAGA, I'm Dark Gothic MAGA.
Question for you, and then I'm getting out of here because this is your stage. But we set up Doge.
Yes.
How much do you think we can rip out of this wasted $6.5 trillion Harris-Biden budget?
Well, I think we can do at least $2 trillion.
Yeah!
If this dude wants to do to our government, our civil servants, what he did to Twitter, Lord have mercy, we are screwed.
Yeah!
I guess this guy was in the bathroom backstage with Don Jr. and Tucker Carlson before this.
Yes.
$2 trillion.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're being taxed. You're being taxed. All government spending is taxation. So whether it's direct taxation or all government spending, it either becomes inflation or it's direct taxation. Your money is being wasted, and the Department of Government Efficiency is going to fix that.
When he says Doge, you know that's based off Dogecoin, which was some meme cryptocurrency that Elon Musk pumped and then dumped in like 2021. It was worth like 5 cents.
We're going to get the government off your back and out of your pocketbook.
Yeah, the most offensive thing about all of this is that Elon Musk wants to ruin our government, strip our civil servants away, and he's naming it after a meme coin.
And America's just not just going to be great. America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
Was that supposed to be cool or like patriotic?
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
So epic, man. I now want to play you a few of the wildest moments of Trump's actual speech, and I'm going to make a video breaking this down in depth either tonight when I get back to Chicago or tomorrow.
If I win, we will quickly build the greatest economy in the history of the world. Which is what we had in our last term. We will rapidly defeat inflation, and we will very simply make America affordable again. We're going to make it affordable. Right? Is the fake news hearing that? Whoa! Look how much. Wow, that's a lot of fake news. That is a lot of fake news. Look at that. Wow. That's got to be a record, Mr. Speaker. I think that's a record. That is a lot of fakers back there.